Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. Oh no, no, no. Hello there guys, it's QwertyAfro here. Welcome back to another video, and it is another Train Sim World free video. Glad you guys have been liking my first one, which was the first look on the southeastern high-speed line on one of the starter UK starter route for Train Sim World free. I do believe the game now is out. It is it's available for the public. It is available to buy on Steam. I wonder if any of you guys have picked it up, or are still speculating to pick it up, or are just like, nah, don't want anything to do with it. Do let me know your thoughts. The last video did get a mixed reception of like views of it in terms of like, and I totally understand. Like, look, I was the first person to say it in the video. I've been through this ecosystem with Dovetail Games, with all the sort of iterations of Train Sim Classic from back when it started as Rail Simulator, and then now all the different versions of Train Sim World, from Heavy Haul to 2020 number 2, and now inevitably number 3. I totally understand people's like mixed opinions and mixed feelings of this game, because I do have them too. But I will keep playing the game and showcasing what I can showcase to you guys. Thank you as well for Dovetail for providing a key for this game. Again, I'm part of the Dovetail Ambassador program. If you don't know that, just have to mention that in the video, as I do receive the keys for free. Today's video, we're going to be looking at we're going to go for the German route. I'm going to showcase all of the kind of like starter routes. There's a UK starter route, there's a German starter route, and then there's a US starter route. So I'm going to go through all of those, and once we kind of get a flavor and like a taste of each one of those kind of routes, then I'll just kind of continue with Train Sim World in terms of just doing kind of random other sort of videos or routes, or if there's any suggestions that or any kind of thing that you want to see from Train Sim World, or how any of some of the older routes, like for example how like maybe the Great Western Express now looks with the dynamic lighting and the dynamic weather, do let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see what I can do for a potential future video idea for the channel. We will see that. But the German route that comes with this new game release for Train Sim World 3 is the if I'm saying it right, Schnellfahrstrecke Kassel Würzburg. I do not know if I'm saying that right. I'm probably totally butchering this. The Schnellfahrstrecke Kassel Würzburg. That is what we're going to do. There is already another sort of Schnellfahrstrecke Cologne kind of route as well. So they're building up the sort of German high-speed network, or German kind of like network that you can actually drive in this game. So, and then obviously we have the Cajun Pass, which is the like final route that I'll be showcasing, and it will be going back to all the sort of other ones. So let's load up into a timetable. The train that does come with the route is the BR401 DB. You can also drive the 403 DB as well as the BR185. I don't know why I'm saying DB. It's just like the BR185, BR401 and BR403. Basically, they're sort of just version of like class, like how we say class 377 or whatever. It's BR77 if there is such a thing that exists. I'm going to do it in the 401. You can drive on all these other ones. The 401, obviously, the classic first ICE high-speed train, which is a sort of like loco plus coaches, while the more modern sort of electric multiple unit with the 403, I think it's a Siemens Valario. That is a full electric multiple unit EMU, while the 401 is a more classic sort of electric loco and then set of coaches and electric loco, but it's a lot more like kind of flush with the actual the whole unit, the whole consist. While back in the older days, the electric locos, like say even now still with like the 185, you do have like a sort of not streamlined sort of locomotive with some random coaches that don't really fit the sort of some of the coaches and stuff are designed to kind of like be streamlined with electric motor locomotives or even diesel locomotives, but the sort of older ones aren't. But you do have something like the 401, which is like a nice kind of like, and even something like the TGV or like the Class 373 or 374. Well, no, 373. But you know what I'm trying to say. I'll stop babbling. Let's pick the 401. Still only, I need to look at the creators hub and actually see if I might download some kind of like liveries for the future. Let us, big route. I do believe this is the biggest route that Dovetail Games have done for Train Sim World. This is a big one. I think it's something like 160 miles or 180 miles. I think. I'm not too sure. It's a very big route, and we're going to try and do all of it. I'm thinking we'll probably do something like, we'll do Würzburg, half to Kassel, Wilhelmshohe. I don't like with the timetabling as well on the timetable mode that it shows the sort of real life destination to destination. So it's like Munich, half to Hamburg, Altona, which when I'm looking at it, I don't know what I'm driving on the actual route. Then I actually have to look at the actual description of the scenario, of the sort of like timetable kind of service, and then be like, oh, we're actually driving Würzburg to Kassel. And I know some of the other ones are shorter, where you can do Kassel to Fulda or Fulda to Kassel. Yeah, but that's just a little gripe that I have with me. So we're going to do this ICE 788 Munich half to Hamburg Altona, which actually is just Würzburg half to Kassel Wilhelmshohe. So let's get into the game and get going. Right, ICE 788 Munich half to Munich half to Hamburg Altona is BR 401, 847.8 tons, 14 carriages, 353.7 meters long. Ooh, very nice. And we're in Würzburg. And I've forgot to mention that I just left the dynamic weather in clear, because in the previous video I did a sort of like stormy kind of like thunderstorm rain, see how that looks with the reflections and stuff. This one I thought I'd just do like clear, see how the lighting and stuff looks when there's just like no clouds or anything, and see also if the dynamic weather actually changes, because I think this will be the most drastic thing to see, where it's clear sky and then maybe there's a bit of like cloud buildup or something like that. So that's why I've kind of left it on clear dynamic weather. And then maybe for the American route we could potentially do snow, which could be interesting. I don't know if that part of the Cajun Pass on that route actually does get snow, but it would just be fun to have like put on and see how it looks like. So we're in the 401. I think with this one you just put in the handle, we select that to neutral. There we go. I think we have PZ, I think CIFA's on. No, CIFA's on, PZB is on, and I think LZB is on as well. We'll just have all the same. This is crazy. I don't do German stuff that much, but let's just do it. It's just going to be a bit of fun to just kind of get used to it. And I can even see there's a bit of ETCS, which is something I know too well. Nice little freight AI coming through. Very good. Let us see what we're dealing with here. LZB, yep, just kind of your standard stuff with German trains, train lines, sand, headlights, right. Headlights we want on bright. Yeah, we could put the master instrument lights on one or whatever. Cab light we can just leave off for now. Let us get the doors open. I like this little sort of foot icon, which I'm guessing that it means that my my foot isn't on the CIFA pedal. And then, ooh, that's cool. You get a little kind of like horn with that's actually a really nice idea. Instead of using, you can obviously use where's the horn? Is there actually a button for the horn somewhere? Maybe, yeah, there is. So there's a nice little horn button there, but also if you don't fancy just like moving your arms or whatever, to me, like as if you don't know, I always say this, but like you guys probably do know, I'm a train driver in real life, but using your feet is like quite nice for like the vigilance system and stuff like that. And on some of the older sort of trains I used to drive, some of the stuff like to cancel the sort of alarms that can be like pulled by passengers is like you hit a button that's like near the vigilance reset pedal on with your feet. So this sort of idea that you can actually have the horn as like a sort of like button pedal to press with your feet is actually quite a nice idea. I would love to actually see that on like more kind of like UK trains, but that's actually really, really cool. So let's have a little look at the train, what we're dealing with here. Oh, that's a nice, I like that. Give it a little screenshot for that. Very nice kind of like bulbous looking train, if that makes any sense. I like that these sort of like European trains that are very kind of like encapsulated, like you don't see much of the wheels, while like with UK trains, because of the loading gauge, it's very like small sort of body of the actual train, and then the wheels are like exposed and there's so much space in the undercarriage and stuff like that. It's like a very sort of kind of UK sort of thing. Oh, there's a 146 there, very nice. Man, I have to say the lighting in this game is now, I would say, very good. Like, you know, like we can appreciate good lighting. Like you just like normally the best way to describe it in terms of like when I play train sim. Oh, can I get a, sorry, I don't know why I'm doing, I love these like sort of angles and stuff like that. It's really, really good. Let's take another one. Let's put on the HUD again. Let's go back in here and let's lock the doors. And we can see the little kind of animation on the actual sort of TCMS screen, or I don't know what the screen would be actually referred to as in this sort of kind of thing, but it's kind of like an ETS, it's electric ETCS panel information screen. I don't know. Right, and then with these trains, and I'll get back to my point that I was making. I was actually trying to make a point there with the screenshots and the lighting. With these trains, when I loaded it in just to test it earlier, I completely forgot that they work on there's two separate handles. It's not one dynamic handle. So on these older trains now, I'm going to have to use semicolon and apostrophe. It feels like I've not used this in a long time. And there we go, a little, oh, damn, completely forward. Slap that into running. Add a bit of minimum power. Give it about 20%, 23%, whatever, doesn't really matter. And I think there should be a bit of build up. Signal's good as well, didn't really even bother with that. Are we moving? Oh, I didn't release the brake fully. That should work now. I think. I think it should work. Oh. I have to unlock that. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I can see the brake pressures now changing. Will I get speed now? Will I get any speed now? Oh, There we go. I've made we got there, guys. We got there. Like, look. I think it was something to do with this key, this brake key. I kind of just like left it locked. But it's fine. We got moving. I like that there was a little bit of build up with like the pressures and stuff like that, which was actually really cool. I'm kind of just like learning on the go with German trains and stuff. Anytime I kind of come back to kind of play a bit of them on in any sort of like in Train Sim Classic and Train Sim World. So this is good. Get going. Our first stop will be Fulda, which is basically 86 kilometers away. Yeah, so essentially it's Fulda and then literally Kassel, Wilhelmshohe. So it basically, buckle in, guys, enjoy this. It's going to be a nice lengthy video of essentially maybe an hour and a half, an hour 20 minutes. So enjoy this long, heavy haul, well, long distance kind of thing. So the point that I was actually trying to make before we took like a decade to basically move the actual train was with the lighting now is that you can stop anywhere sort of and kind of like take a picture and it looks pretty good because of the lighting now with how it just sits and just reacts with the environment and even with objects plus the train. And this is something I really enjoyed in like Train Sim Classic. Anytime I would just like stop anywhere if it was a good like map or whatever with the train, and the lighting in that game was really good, the way it hit and showed the sort of details of like the environment and the train, where you could just stop it anywhere and really do a nice screenshot. While I always struggled in Train Sim World to essentially just stop and take a picture because the lighting was just always off. As I said in the previous video when I was driving in Southeastern High Speed, I've never had an issue with the actual weather in Train Sim World, but I think the lighting was definitely a big kind of issue with it just kind of looking too kind of bright in your face and just a little bit unnatural, like a bit too just like it looks like it's fake light sort of kind of thing. So let us, nice little highway down there. We're going into a tunnel. I don't know what to even expect in this route. I don't even know where this is geographically, or if we're going to be like going through mountains and stuff like that. And who knows? I love the sort of darkness of the cab with everything kind of illuminated. That is really good. The actual screens themselves look really good in the dark. And it's, again, another thing with the lighting, like it just works. So now once we come out the tunnel, you can see there's a bit of a halo here of light, and then the light transitions, and now you can even see how the screens now have changed as well with the light that's not actually, well, the light that's actually now hitting them. And that's actually really cool. And again, nice sort of transition there, and then the screens kind of like dim and then brighten up when we hit the tunnel, and that's pretty good. This is the one thing I just love banging about with this game, and if it's the main reason that like you should maybe consider upgrading from Train Sim 2, it's the lighting is just great. But this is just something that, again, and I understand everyone that comes with their sort of opinions with the game, and I've read all the comments from the previous video. Like, look, I understand. This to me just feels like it should have been a really like solid update for the game. It should have just been, you know, like, this is an update, we're doing weather, we're doing lighting, we're improving a lot of visuals and stuff like that, and that would have been great. People would have gotten it as like a free sort of update, and then like, oh, here are the new routes to kind of showcase that, and then blah blah blah. But then the thing is, it's fundamentally an upgrade for all of the other existing routes in the game. But the thing is, if you don't buy Train Sim World free again, you will not get the benefits of, because Train Sim World 2 is still a separate game. I don't know if Train Sim World 2020 is a separate game. I'm not too sure about that, but I know Train Sim World 2 is completely separate. So if you still have all your routes and you're like, I don't want to pay again to just get like these kind of routes again, or like because I think the only kind of new route is this German route for Train Sim World 3, and then like Southeastern High Speed I think was just extended, and what is it, the Cajun Pass I think as well got extended or just kind of remodified or something like that. So in a way I can understand people that have all those routes and don't particularly want the new German route and think, oh well, I'm just gonna stick with the game. But then in this kind of case, you're not getting the actual benefits and fundamental updates, like with the dynamic weather, with the lighting, for all your other routes, because all my other routes are ported over to this game. But then it's still funny because I still have Train Sim World 2 in my Steam library, so you could just technically open up Train Sim World 2 and play it on an older version of the, you know, Unreal Engine 4, kind of like stuck in that sort of time capsule of that period of the actual game. So again, I just don't think it was well kind of like, they should have done this as an update and then put it as like, oh, everyone gets the kind of fundamental sort of update. But or maybe no, actually probably everyone does get the update. Maybe I'm actually just talking out of my ass right now. Maybe everyone does get the update but doesn't get the actual updated routes. But then why does no, because there's still Train Sim World 2. I'm not too sure. Someone will probably tell me. It's like, QwertyAfro, actually, you know, everyone gets the kind of dynamic weather update and all the stuff, and then it's just like, if you don't want to buy any of the routes, you just get the standard Train Sim World game without any sort of extra stuff, like extra kind of routes and stuff like that, and you only pay if you want like the Southeastern or this German route or the American route. To be honest, there's a good amount of illumination in this tunnel, so I'm quite content with the lighting. And I'm fully at max speed here. My throttle is all the way to 100%. We're just cruising now up to our top speed, which should be... So what is this? What is it? Is this a power gauge? I think it is. Nice. Man, it's just a lot of viaducts so far on this route. And this is just basically purely high speed. And I think with the LZB system, I do believe that is in terms of when we're at a high speed, it tells me my sort of different max kind of top speed. And then like CIFA is the sort of vigilance system, if I'm right. I think I have all of them are active. I've not heard anything so far yet with the actual safety systems coming in for me to acknowledge them, which, look, I'm not going to complain about that. I have some really kind of interesting past experience with German safety systems on like different German units that I've driven in, like Train Sim Classic, and let's just say not all of them have been great. I've just had, like, you know, the angry lady or man like screaming like CIFA or what is it, RFB or whatever. So the least amount of intervention from the safety system, the better I'll be. I just want to enjoy the ride and enjoy the views of this route that I've never driven on. Yeah, that's just basically essentially it. Oh my god, yeah, the way the light just changes when you go into a tunnel or come out of a tunnel, you really can see it on this route, especially because there's quite a lot of tunnels. You can really see, like, that transition is so nice. That's really sort of realistic and very sort of immersive. Because in sort of like the olden, like if this was Train Sim World 2, you would literally like go into the tunnel and it would just go pitch black. There'd be no like sort of flash of light or sort of like nice kind of like, because your eyes adjust. That's the thing. One thing as a train driver, when you go into a tunnel, it's not just like, oh, instant black. It's like you go into a tunnel, you get you get kind of like flash of light that kind of illuminates the sort of the sort of portal entrance of the tunnel, or the rim of the tunnel, and then it goes black. And then until your eyes adjust to everything like in front of you in terms of the lighting, the screens, the dials, whatever it is, it's all sort of black. And then even in front of you in the tunnel, it's basically, and let me just, I can see I'm actually getting to my sort of top speed here, so I just kind of want to lay off the throttle here a little bit. I think that should be fine. I don't know if that, again, my question to this train is, does it have a speed set? And I think it should. Else it'd be overwrite, else it'd be release, pantograph, main circuit breaker. Maybe it's only the new trains that do. And one thing I don't know if I think I turned on motion blur. I think. I'm not too sure. Oh, and you can see actually with the weather, the clouds. Look at those clouds. They look really, really nice. Like, look at that. Yeah, it definitely. That's really, really nice. That's actually really, really nice detail. It just makes the environment look just a lot more realistic. And it's just those kind of subtle touches that, like, you can really see it with the eye and this. And again, with the lighting, I have to keep banging on with the lighting. The lighting just hits right now in the environment. It doesn't make the, like, to me, when Train Sim World came out, when Unreal Engine 4, I thought, oh yeah, this is going to be a huge boost in. Right, I'm going to turn off the. I'm going to initiate a little bit of brake, just to calm the top speed down. There we go. But initially when I started playing on Train Sim World 3, Train Sim World when it came out on Unreal Engine 4, and we were like all excited about, oh, Unreal Engine, new graphics system, it's going to be, really, graphics are going to be crazy good. But then I wasn't that excited, because I'll add a little bit more brake. There we go. I wasn't like that impressed, because the way that the environments looked in the game, it was just it was like, you could tell, like, yeah, it's better 3D graphics, but the way that the light and stuff was hitting all the assets in the game, there was just something just off about it. And it's just more visually pleasing to look at stuff in Train Sim Classic, where even though the graphics weren't good, the way that the lighting and stuff worked in that game, and very simple sort of graphics, and simple, like, where the details mattered was, like, with the trains and stuff like that, and say stations, it was good, and then everything else didn't really need to be crazy good. And it's even the same with this game. Like, the train is really detailed, that you can see in everything, like right now in the vicinity of, like, say where the tracks are, and then sort of, I don't know, a mile or two out from the tracks, or even probably less than that, a couple hundred meters, that's where the detail is. And then for a far field, it's like, doesn't really matter. But I just always thought that the visuals in Train Sim Classic were always much better in terms with the lighting, and even the weather to some extent. If you got like a good weather enhancement pack, like the Armstrong Powerhouse weather pack, it made the game like look still really good for like how old it is. Yeah, I think I do have motion blur on. I think I've turned it off. And then I've turned it on. I think it's like Control F2. Yeah, so that is with it on. If you can see where my mouse is on the left, that is with it on. You can see how it's sort of blurring the foliage and the trees around. And even with the look, I'm not running, well, I think the game's on basically max settings. And even with my sort of PC setup, and I'm recording at 2K, there are little dips in FPS, and I think also, because of the rendering distance as well, it still needs to load in assets like, you know, Train Sim Classic, so there is a little kind of dips that I'm seeing, they're not too noticeable. And now at this point, we're actually going to need a little bit, oh, and I've actually put my FPS counter on by accident, but you can see what FPS I'm actually pulling. It is about 100 now, which is not too bad. Oh, so that's the power and brake. Okay, now I understand. I'm learning on the go with this train, and that's fine. All right, get a little bit more power. Oh, and it's really like nice and kind of like dynamic. I like that. Yeah, we're gonna need a little bit more power there. But then maybe is it F2? Control F2. Yeah, okay. Now motion blur is off, I do believe. I think. Because I've just noticed the difference there. I think it is like F2, Control F2 for like toggle it on and off. But you can see now, if you look to the left, there is no kind of like it kind of almost stretches the foliage out, kind of, not stretches, but it adds like a sort of stretching effect where, yeah, it creates that sort of motion blur kind of effect to the eye. But now with it off, this is how it kind of I can actually, to be honest, so that's with it on. Okay. To be honest, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. What does it look okay with motion blur? I think it looks respectable. I think even now with the lighting as well, it kind of looks kind of more interesting, maybe to the eye. I don't know. I think one of the and I can see we're on a sort of like 1.3% gradient here, so that's why, like, even though I'm actually at 75% throttle, that's why we're not sort of like budging to the top speed. So the train's doing all it's basically right now. The power of the train is essentially, even if I max power it right now, it probably won't pick up any speed, which is fine. That just means that I will not be speeding. But yeah, I do like the route. The visually of the route looks really nice. It's just very sort of like, I guess, German sort of countryside. But yeah, let me know about the motion blur. Is it a yay or is it a nay? I don't know. And that light, I just, honestly, visually this game is a lot more pleasing to just sit in and play now. Like, I just didn't really like visually kind of like looking at this game when I played it before. But now with this sort of like, you know, the dynamic weather, the lighting, it's definitely better. Like, the eye candy now for the game is a lot better, and it's a lot better presented, I would think. Wow, we're still up. Damn, or like... I'll leave it on max throttle. Well, now, okay, the gradient now is slightly changing, so maybe we're going to actually back off the throttle here. I don't want to go too fast. We have about 35 kilometers to go to Fulda, our first and only stop. anything on the wait, hold on. Maybe, okay, I need to get out of the tunnel because I can't see anything unless I put the cab light on, but I do not know what the hotkey is for that, so I will do this once we're now, okay, we're now in daylight. Do I have to put... Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. Oh no, no, no. Oh no, no. Oh no. Why hello there viewers, this is QwertyAfro from the future who's editing this video, and as you can see, even from the beginning of the video I completely did an error where I thought I put on LZB, AFB, CFA, RFB, but I didn't, and to be honest, I was pleasantly going along and it was all fine, and then somehow I thought, oh, let's just toggle it back on, and as you saw, I came to a stop and that kind of faltered that attempt to Kassel. So I'm going to basically restart from Fulda and we'll just pick up the journey back there. I do hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Right, to now continue from where I sadly had to redo this sort of part of the video, do apologize. I am a different iteration of QWERTY, not the same one that was doing the wherever we got up to, but we've had to essentially pick up the journey from Fulda, which is the only stop that we actually do stop on this journey, and we've kind of like finished the sort of like boarding duties here, and we can sort of get the doors closed and go. I will never be doing any sort of let's just say I will never ever be doing any sort of playing around with these switches like the PZB, CFA, LZB, IFB. I am just not interested right now to try and understand what I need to do with those systems. Maybe at some point in the future I will muster up the courage and you know, I will do something with that, and but I think I'm gonna keep it on simple mode because obviously I do not know German safety systems and stuff like that, which is fine. Look, it's fine. I admit I had a bit of a blunder there. I had a little bit of a blunder. Oh, why are my tail lights still on? My tail lights are for some reason on. Master cab light, headlights, signal, headlights bright, train line on, switch on. Well, my tail lights are on for some reason. I do not know why, but that's fine. On our last bit of the journey to Kassel Wilhelmshohe, as we depart Fulda. I have no idea why my headlights are... that should be fine. But yeah, and what was actually even more interesting to tell you, because I did actually try to rectify the problem when I did come to a stop in the middle of, I don't know, somewhere on a very nice looking modern viaduct or wherever it was near. I have no idea, but I did try and rectify the problem, I tried disabling I tried to kind of reset to kind of try and use the PZB, the RFB, CIFA and everything. CIFA should be pretty simple because that's just like basically a vigilance, but at this point I'm not gonna try to like mess about with those systems anymore, because all I'm doing is I'm just doing a first look video on this actual German high-speed route, and for me everything was going well in the video. We were having a nice time, we were having, you know, a bit of, you know, a bit of a drive. But the only kind of positive I can take from actually coming to a halt there and having to basically just, you know, cry myself, I took, like, you should have seen, like, I spent like a good like maybe half an hour, and if like I'm not this as I said, this is not the same version of QwertyAfro. I'm recording this on a completely different day, so this is not after the sort of aftermath. Like, I basically had that aftermath, tried to resolve it and didn't, and then went away, came back and tried to do it again, didn't happen. I tried saving the actual game, that didn't work, and then I just gave up for I think a few days. So you're seeing now a QwertyAfro that's, you know, had some time to reflect, and I feel that I've reflected well, and I'm good to continue in this sort of capacity where I'm not relying or being brave to challenge my sort of knowledge and depth in German safety systems. But this is something I will look to in the future improve and try and learn. The thing is, I know that I don't know what it is. Like, I think for me, it's with the German safety systems, it's more like when to acknowledge or when to sort of press to override like the PZB or whatever, and then also hearing the different audible sounds of like what you actually need to sort of like press or do. Like, it just all sounds the same to me. So if the CIFA needs to be acknowledged, I don't know. But look, we learn from our mistakes. This is not the video where I go exploring the PZB, the LZB, and the RFB is actually not too bad because that's just essentially a speed set. But I'm not going to try it. I'm going to just continue how I started the video, and we will finish the video, and we will complete this first look on the German high-speed route between Würzburg and Kassel-Wilhelmshohe. So we have another sort of 81-ish kilometers. So it's about 100. What did I say at the beginning in terms of length of this route? I do believe it's about 100. I said it was like something like 160 or 180 miles. What I meant is it's about 160 kilometers, which would, I think, equate to about 110 miles. I'm not a great kilometer to mile converter, so I'm just guessing. I would say it would be at least 100 miles. 160 kilometers is at least 100 miles, I'm pretty sure, doing the sort of math on that, because what I think it's 1.6 miles, no, 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers. So 160 kilometers is 100 miles. Is that good maths? I don't know. But yeah, but it's the longest route in Train Sim, so that is well, in Train Sim World. I wouldn't say in all of Train Sim. But it looks like we're essentially going through here a very long tunnel, which is fine. We like tunnels, and it's lit up sufficiently, which I like to see. Is I just have to bang on again with the lighting in this game. Like, it's just something I gotta do. But I'm enjoying it. Other than my little hiccup I've had, I'm definitely enjoying this route. It is definitely one, I guess, for the German fans, if you know this route in real life. and you go on it, and I don't. What do they actually still even use the ICE like one, this first version? Do they still use these trains in service, or are they like? Is it all now like the sort of new Siemens Velaros or whatever kind of iteration of ICE train? I think it's like, is it ICE 4 or 5 or something like that now? I'm not too sure on the sort of history of different IC variants, but obviously this is the first one. But I wonder if they're still in service. I wouldn't see why not if they're still in good working order. And the actual interiors of them are pretty nice as well. A little camera view. Or it's not really a passenger view. I'm just kind of like using the free camera and just kind of peeking in here. But I like how the audio actually mutes when you're actually in here, so that's quite nice. But one thing I was going to say, when I actually got into that sort of, when I got into the sort of debacle of like, I paused the video, tried to rectify the German safety system to continue where we actually stopped. One positive thing was actually the dynamic weather. As you know, I did put this on. I'm speaking in the sort of like past tense if you've not realizing, because obviously this is a different day that I'm recording this segment of the video, so I'm kind of having to. It's not like I've just did the sort of bits that you watched in the first what was it, about first 40 minutes or first 30 something minutes of the video. This is a different day, so I'm kind of having to sort of recall back in my memory of what I can remember of what I kind of said and did in that video, so, or that first part of that video, because right now for me in my mind it's basically 2 separate videos that I've done, but obviously I need to kind of collate it, combine it in sort of like what I'm saying in my commentary to try and not make it sound like I'm you know, speaking like almost it's almost like a new video for me, this sort of segment or this part. But the good thing is that the dynamic weather, it did change. It got actually, funnily enough, which I think is a bit hilarious actually now when I look at it, is the so when I stopped and I was just there like trying to fix the systems, trying to get going again, and I was just getting audible alarms and stuff in German, and I was just like not having a good time. I wanted to cry myself to sleep. It started raining. The clouds got darker, it started building up, and it started raining, and it kind of almost reflected the mood I was in, or the sort of state that my train was in, and the despair that I was feeling, that I was like, well, this video is essentially going to be scrapped. So I have to say that's a thumbs up there for the dynamic weather. It definitely dynamically adapted to my emotions and the state of that video, or that part of the video. But I've just, obviously, I've just picked, essentially for this sort of part, I picked another sort of scenario, but for some reason, so you have scenarios that go between Würzburg and Kassel, where you can stop at Fulda. I don't think there's any sort of direct. I think every sort of scenario has you stopping at one station, Fulda. But the thing is, there's the only scenarios that there are from like Fulda to Kassel. So there's like the one I picked right now is basically between Fulda and Kassel, and then there's the opposite where you can do Kassel to Fulda, but there's no Fulda to Würzburg or Würzburg to Fulda, which is a bit annoying. But it is what it is. I just picked the best thing that I could kind of match to. And obviously the better thing I should have done if I was a bit more professional, and if I actually wanted or had the time, is I could have just replayed that scenario and just get to the sort of roughly sort of the place that I stopped. But at that point I was just so done, and like when I had now the chance to sort of record again, I kind of didn't want to just go through all of that again and just sit here and just drive that sort of like 35 minutes and then trying to like match where I kind of like stopped. I think I do believe, I can't like, this is how you could just tell I'm just not with it with the sort of syncing of these two parts of the video that you're watching. But I don't know how far off I was from Fulda. I think I was like something like 30 something kilometers, or maybe even less than that, maybe like 16 kilometers. I'm not too sure. Oh, and we're going up a gradient here. We need to pump the power. But essentially, yeah, I wasn't that far away from Fulda, so I took an executive decision to essentially just do a Fulda to Kassel. So at least for the video, for the purposes of this first look on this sort of on this German starter route for Train Sim World 3, I'm at least covering everything and covering the whole route, so you kind of get a nice sort of, you know, spectacle of it. So. But yeah, I can only apologize. That was just, you know, it wouldn't be a QwertyAfro video without some kind of like shenanigans like that. But look, you know, I probably will need to do maybe a series at some point where I just try and learn the PZB and the LZB and whatever, because I could probably, like, I probably had it, like, I'm pretty sure in the past I had it down. On some of the units it's a bit more easier, or some, like, the way it was done. I don't know how it was done in Train Sim Classic, because obviously I don't play German content or American content that much. I mainly just look at the UK and the British stuff. Oh, and another train. But yeah, so I'm not really that much, I'm not that versed with the sort of like the German sort of like side of things and the safety systems, but I don't mind just playing in this sort of simplistic, just like set up and go sort of thing. It's I still get to enjoy the route and showcase it for you guys, but I definitely will at some point probably look to just at least have a basic understanding of the sort of LZB and the PZB systems. And I think I am keeping motion blur on because I'm actually digging it a little bit now. I think it's actually been improved from what I can see, because I remember essentially before, when I'd like, you know, like first sort of iterations of Train Sim World, the motion blur was not that great, and I think the biggest thing was as well, like objects like the spinning metal wheels of the trains. They would like really kind of be like really block patchy motion blur on them, because obviously they're a smooth sort of round surface, but I think that the sort of like visuals for it weren't there. So if yeah, you can see now the wheels look, oh, and I can actually do free camera in, okay, I can't, oh. That looks really nice actually. Like a sort of like a Batman train. But yeah, you can see that the wheels actually are a lot more better presented with the motion blur on. Well, essentially before, this was like, it looked very kind of like messy down here with like the wheels and stuff like that. So it's nice to see that motion blur actually you can just turn it on and it just looks really like seamless now. So that I can give a thumbs up to, and probably just use the motion blur now. On a sort of like fast high speed route, I'm thinking this is great. Like, I think motion blur works, and like on sort of slower stuff there's no real need, because obviously there's like the issue with motion blur is like when you do slower stuff, it sometimes could look a little bit stupid having these sort of like kind of motion blur effects, because really motion blur only kind of, for immersive purposes, it's only really when you're going super fast. Like, you're not gonna get, you might get a bit of motion blur, or like say in real life when you're like turning your head or something like that, you do get a little sort of like, you know, when your eyes are tracking stuff, like you do get a little bit of like your eyes are not always in focus. But I always think like, so when you're traveling in a fast train, that's where like you can just like, you can either focus in on something very far ahead, or like if you're focusing something right in front of you outside the window, it's going to be just like really hard to kind of keep up with. So in a way, I would say the faster you go, in terms like for a high speed route like this, motion blur is probably, I'd say, better. But if you're doing something really slow, like say on the Bakerloo line, which I did a video, what was my last Train Sim World 2 video, like on that route like that, I don't think motion blur is going to be like, you know, amazing. Like in a tunnel as well, like, you know. See, like right now, like you can't really, like say even now when we're traveling in this tunnel, you can't even really sort of make out the motion blur. I turn it off. So that's it off. Which, yeah. But anyway, we've had this. That's one thing I can remember from the first part of the video that I did record and kind of mucked up. That we did have the sort of comparisons of motion blur, and came to a decision that it was good. But yeah. And I am now speeding. Oh, we're going down actually a gradient, so now I have to be a little bit more vigilant with the brakes. That's good. Maybe a little more. There we go. I wonder if the weather's going to change for us at all. Would be interesting to see. I have 34 kilometers left. And I feel like, obviously, because kilometers are, they're shorter than a mile, so definitely you can feel the kilometers go down a lot faster than if this was miles, we'd be here a little bit longer. And it's also something like, say if you go for like a jog or whatever, if you do like a 5-mile jog, it's gonna take you a considerably a lot longer than if you were doing a kind of like 5-kilometer run. Right, let's give it a little release, and then maybe it can pick up some more speed by itself. And I have to say, this section of the route, there's a lot of tunnels. I don't remember there being too many or like a lot like this in the first part. So like the sort of section between Würzburg and Fulda is a lot more open, while I just feel like, I don't know, I feel since Fulda we've just on the way here now to Kassel. But then again, maybe this whole route is essentially just built up of this sort of viaduct. But this is some engineering right here. Look at that. That's really cool. That is cool. Yeah, I do like, yeah, the tunnel looks good. I'm seeing enough what I need to see, and there's actually even some like light shadows and stuff like that, and light reflections ahead, maybe with like the signals. Signals are bright, like in tunnels especially, you can see a signal very well from afar, and it does light up. Oh, I'm gonna have to put some more power because we're going 1.3% gradient. But you'd be very surprised. Signals in tunnels, very bright. And generally signals, like even in the night, like you can, and even in the fog, even though there is some fog that like even blocks out like sort of like sighting of signals, but generally the signals, and especially with modern LED signals nowadays, very good in terms of like viewing distance and stuff like that. And now we're back on, oh my god, we're just going up and down. Now we're on a 1% decline. But not bad. But this kind of looks like an easy route to kind of like, it just, there's not a lot of detail going on, like, really. So in the terms of like, yeah, this is the longest route that Dovetail have done for Train Sim World in general, but is it really like a crazy, you know, detailed route? Because so far all the scenery kind of looks the same, which, yeah, probably would, like, you know, we're just in the middle of all this sort of like mountainous forest and whatever, but now compare like, I don't know, doing a like 100-mile-ish route where you're going to be going through like a lot of cities and stuff like that. But obviously this route itself is a like primarily a high-speed corridor, so there's not a lot of cities. There's not a lot of cities in between here where we're like traveling. We're just literally traveling on like literally a designated separate graded high speed sort of like viaducts cutting through like mountains and hillsides and stuff like that. And I have been seeing like some like junctions and stuff like that kind of branch off, and I'm guessing there is like, you can obviously play with the electric locomotives, which I think they're part of the freight scenarios that are available for this map. So potentially for something in the future, I might look, if I revisit this route, I can maybe do like some sort of freight scenario or timetable and see how, like you see here, like there's these sort of like passing loops, or kind of like maybe onto legacy patches or railway parts, or I don't know. But yeah, I'd be maybe interested at some point. It's once I do the American route, the Cajun Pass, and maybe go back, and what will be interesting to see is to go back on some of the older Train Sim World routes and just see how the kind of like new lighting and the new weather kind of like looks in like some of the older stuff. But then obviously a lot of the kind of route building has also improved, so it might not just be like a case of like, oh, I'll go back into another map or route and it's going to be like so different. But then again, with this game, with Train Sim World 3, there have been actually like actual updates with certain like routes, like the Bakerloo line got like an update with like a rush hour kind of mode with timetables and stuff like that, and I do believe there's other kind of like routes that got some like different kind of treatments. I think those kind of updates as well, you don't need to buy Train Sim World 3 again, which is good. Yeah, I seem to be getting a little bit of like drops in or like stutters with the FPS. I don't know why. It's a little, I don't know if it's to do maybe with the render distance or whatever. But I don't know if this is just on the recording or is it coming through, because I am feeling it in game as well. I might need to modify some of these settings. But generally it runs like smooth. Ooh. I think I should be slowing down. Would that be a good executive decision to do right now? Because we are like 7 kilometers away, right? I feel that would be a good idea to do. But then also, no, we're still going at like we're still going 200 kilometers per hour right now, and I'm like, I just like by the audio tone I thought like, oh, we're slowing down quite a lot, but we're still going pretty fast. And to be honest, we just did a couple of kilometers in that last kind of like 20 seconds, so maybe it would be best to start like really coming down with the speed, because the worst thing I want to do here is potentially ruin another section of the recording of this video where I'm like, oh, I've not stopped at Kassel properly, or I've overshot Kassel by a mile or two. Right. Oh, so this looks like it kind of, we go back onto like sort of like the legacy. Yeah, there's a little bit of dropping on, I don't know if that's screen tearing or whatever, but yeah, there's a little drop there. I think it's the render distance, or like the render quality. Might have to tweak that a bit. Because even though high-end AMD setup here, it's still quite a big game in terms to like actually fully, but then again, I don't know if this game is fully optimized now. It's still out, it still has bugs and stuff like that, and maybe it needs to, like, you know, get a little bit more optimized with like the updates and stuff that do come out for it eventually. But still, like, Train Simulator games, in terms of how much like stuff, like assets and stuff it needs to render all at one go, plus you're going at like a really fast speed where the actual, you know, everything needs to be like loaded in fast. Okay. Right. I'm not gonna need any more throttle. And now I'm in super focus mode. Right, start coming down with the speed. Yeah, see, there was a really big pause there. Oh, there's the platform. And the stop marker for the platform's on again. My god, some of these things, I hate this game in terms of like, when I save settings, it just sometimes when I load back in, it just resets the settings. And I'm like, what's the point of me setting these settings and applying them, and then all of a sudden I load back in and I have to do it all over again? Like, you know, come on now. Come on now. Oh, this looks like a nice station. Right. Let's do full service and let's unlock the ride, as we have made it to Kassel. Oh. Here we go, a little bit of, oh, delay. Oh, it even tells me the delay. I have a 4-minute delay. That's a lot of people getting off. Yeah, I might have to play around with the I think it's the render distance that's playing up a little bit. But I finally got there, guys. This video has spanned over more days of my life than it need be, but we finally got there and completed the Schnellfahrstrecke Würzburg to Kassel, Kassel to Würzburg, and I have to say, not too bad, not too shabby. It's just a fast route, really, with just one stop in between. So, like, it's, if you like that sort of thing with like the high speed, and you like German trains, and you like the German safety systems, like that I don't know how to use yet properly, this will be right up your street. So again, with like the sort of like packs you can get for Train Sim World free, you can get like just the German route, you can get just the UK route, or just the US route. As well, you can get a deluxe with all of them, plus also the Spirit of Steam if you want that. But that is my little, again, well, not little, it feels like a rather long time, but that's my first look at the German route of the Schnellfahrstrecke, if I'm even saying that right. I do apologize if I'm butchering the name. I enjoyed it. The train was really nice, and the route itself, like for what it was, really nice, and I look forward to maybe coming back and trying some freight stuff on it potentially, or even trying the more newer 403 ice. Is that the IC3 then, I would presume? If that's how it goes, I guess if it goes 401, 402, 404, whatever, or, you know, from the ICE1 to whatever variational model they're on for the rolling stock. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Tell me your thoughts down below, what you think about this route, and again, what you're kind of finding, your kind of experience with Train Sim World 3. I would love to know. Other than that, depending on how I kind of release videos, if you saw my community post actually recently on my YouTube channel, you'll know that I'm going abroad like soon, so I might have time to record some videos to put out while I'm abroad. If not, then I should probably back to sort of like with sort of regularity of videos, how I've like come back with this latest comeback on the channel. I should be back with some sort of regular videos from like about sort of like beginning of October. If you don't see anything for the last few weeks in September, do apologize, but you might see some stuff if I record some stuff before I go and schedule it like how I used to do back in the day. But that's all I have for you guys today. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you hopefully in another video very soon. Take care guys, and have a lovely day. Bye bye.